I don't know that there's any other big name that's really on the bubble. I don't know if you guys had one in mind, but I think it's pretty straightforward. There's a couple guys at the end of the roster that are competing, and a lot of it's like a fifth safety versus a ninth offensive lineman versus a fifth inside linebacker type of stuff, and special teams or the need for depth at a certain position might be the deciding factor. But really, receiver is the only position where you have multiple guys at the same position competing for one or maybe two spots, and Doctson's in that mix.
Craig, I'm assuming that if Doctson had been a third or fourth round pick or later, he already would have been gone. I just think that the front office, they don't want to be embarrassed by releasing a first round pick. But at this point, I mean, it's a sunken cost. They realize that he's not ever going to be the player that they hoped he would be when they picked him in the first round. Other teams miss on first round picks. It's okay to release a first round pick. Don't hold on to him just because he's a former first rounder.
Right. So I would say two things. One, I don't know they necessarily would have released him before now because not just because he's a first round pick, but because he still is better than what they've had, which says a lot about their receiving core over the last couple of years. This is the first year they have actually like some decent options at receiver. Otherwise, I mean, they're 10 deep at guys who could play in an NFL game. Not like SARS or anything like that, but like their 9th and 10th guys are Darvin Kidsey, who could play in an NFL game and not be lost, and Brian Quick, who's played in a lot of NFL games and clearly would not be lost, even if neither of them would be spectacular or even that good. But they're NFL caliber players, 10 deep. That's saying something. They don't have the top end guys, but Doctson has been better than what they've had. Josh Doctson, Ryan Grant, yeah. So to upgrade like they have at receiver is a good job by them, especially with all these young guys. But the question now becomes, who's the better player now? Is Robert Davis a better player than Josh Doctson? Probably not. And in fact, I've talked to some players about this. Who would you rather cover, or different positions? Asking different versions of that question. And the answer is Josh. Josh is still so supremely talented that he is better than Robert Davis. He is better than Steven Sims. I think depending on who you ask, that he still is better than Cam Sims.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I was kind of just responding to people on text yesterday, and I think people get caught up with the production of the preseason when it comes to guys like Doctson, and you can't, because he's going to have limited time and he's not going to have a lot of targets. From what you see and that you talk to, is he doing well in practice?
I think he's had a good camp. I think he really actually has had probably his best summer, and you'd hope so at this point. Again, it doesn't mean he's going to turn into a world beater or a true number one or anything that they'd hoped he would be. But I think we can also do kind of the inverse of Cake's question. Like, oh, he's a first rounder. They're holding on to him because of that. Well, okay, he's a first rounder, but okay, let's forget that for a second. Is he just better than the other guys? Like, if he was a third rounder, would he be happy with what he's done? Probably not happy, but you wouldn't be nearly as upset because he has had some impact. I think the thing that for him is he's got to make sure he takes advantage of the opportunities he gets. He's had too many drops over the years. But there's also, like, some of the numbers are just not fair to him. Like the catch percentage stuff, he has an insanely high percentage of balls that just get thrown way over his head. The throwaways seem to come to him. So is that technically a target? Yeah. So it screws your catch percentage. So the drops that he has had get amplified by catch numbers that are catch percentage numbers that make fans go crazy. So again, I don't want to sound like I'm defending Doctson as some awesome player or that he 100% should make this roster, but I think that he probably should. And Case has said that he trusts Josh, and it sounds like he trusts him more than Kirk ever did or than Alex did last year. So if he's finally got a quarterback that's willing to throw him the ball, and they seem to have also, by the end of last year, found a couple of new ways to get him the ball, some of these crossing and slant routes that they go, oh, wait, even though he's covered, he's big-bodied, and he'll catch it. I think those types of things should matter, not to mention his high-end special ability to score in the red zone, which they've never been able to throw it to him properly down there. But that stuff matters because they need to figure out how to score in the red zone because they've been awful at it the last couple of years.
I think the big tell is simply he's not playing in the fourth preseason game. Typically, if you don't play in the fourth preseason game, you've made the team, right? It's pretty rare that they give you off and then they whack you.
Right, and so this could go one of two ways, and I tend to lean exactly to where you just said, where if he were to be in a position battle, then he should get the right to play and earn that spot.
I
And
agree.
he should have gotten a lot more. But this entire
Agreed.
But at the same time, they could have already said, we've got 3 games worth of or 3 years worth of games and 3 years worth of practices. We know what he is. Let's get some of these young guys to see if we like them better. And Josh had his chance. So there is a chance that that's the barring injury, he's gone. But I tend to lean that he's staying.